I've been teaching a lot of years, retired 13 years ago from teaching full-time in a classroom, and have been teaching part-time online ever since. The great thing about teaching online was that I could travel. I began to make introductory videos for my students from remote locations, and I would mention, I guess to be honest, I was sort of bragging. I would tell them that my new office was the great outdoors.
Right now I'm in my office, which is in Montana.
Teaching always seemed like magic to me. When you plant the right seed at the right time in a fertile imagination, a light goes on. Consciousness expands. And teachers get to watch that happen. That's what makes it all worthwhile. Teaching was so much fun for so many years. But last month I retired again. Not because I'm getting too old, although, truth be told, I will celebrate my 80th birthday later this year, but because an explosion of new AI technology has enabled student cheating to reach an all-time high. Teaching on the leading edge of technology in the midst of a new world busy being born is actually quite exciting, and I keep up with new developments. But trying to stay ahead of the curve on student cheating left precious little time for my own creative projects. The writing on the wall was pretty clear, and teaching was not so much fun anymore. It used to be easy to know when students were cheating on a written assignment. If they copied information from any website on the internet, we could tell. How could we tell? Educational institutions subscribe to a software program called Turnitin. Turnitin automatically processes all student submissions looking for original source information on the World Wide Web. Here's a student submission, and that number in red is the percentage of words that have been directly copied from an outside source. When I click on the number, it takes me to the specifics. And incidentally, students can see their Turnitin report just like I can. Whatever text has been copied and pasted, Turnitin not only identifies it, but also provides the URL where it was plagiarized from. Turnitin highlights the text in the student's assignment, and side by side gives us a snapshot of the same text from the website. The evidence is irrefutable. What happens then? Well, I myself always treat a first-time offense as a teaching moment. I assume plagiarism is not so much a willful attempt to deceive as it is more of not knowing exactly when or how to cite sources. And let's be honest, plagiarism is not exactly a major sin. It doesn't make you a bad person. I mean, Martin Luther King Jr. plagiarized significant portions of his doctoral dissertation at Boston University, and President Biden admits to having plagiarized while in law school and actually had to withdraw from the 1988 presidential campaign after plagiarizing speeches from others. In both cases, Biden and Martin Luther King were simply unaware of the need for attribution of sources. So I counsel students, make sure they understand what plagiarism is and how to avoid it, and give them a chance to rewrite the assignment. And that usually solves the problem. But now suppose the subject is literature, and you are learning how to do a basic analysis of stories, how plots are structured, for example, and you are asked to write a short narrative about an incident from your own experience. The idea is that you will demonstrate your understanding of plot by creating a narrative that contains the three basic plot elements that every story contains. Situation A is followed by a change that leads to situation B. And I provide some examples to help jumpstart their imagination. For example, this morning I was speeding to school when my coffee slipped off the dash. It splashed over me, soaking my clothes. This is only 2 sentences, but it has the basic elements of plot. Situation A, driving to school dry. Change, coffee splashes. Situation B, driving to school wet. And I also provide a personal example of my own from when I was working as a veterinary assistant out in Los Angeles. Note that this assignment doesn't ask for facts like you can find on a website. This kind of assignment wants you to create your own personalized response, a creative short description of something that happened to you, dredged up from your own real-life experience and written out in your own words. Can't cheat on this kind of assignment, can you? Well, not so fast. 6 months ago, an AI program called ChatGPT burst on the scene. ChatGPT is a chatbot that can understand questions and generate answers in a way that mimics human conversation. Watch what happens when I enter this same literary plot assignment into a chatbot. I'll use Google Bard instead of ChatGPT and ask it to complete the assignment for me. Almost instantly, we get a grammatically correct first-person narrative detailing situation A guy is on his way to work, the change, which is that he sees a homeless man on the street, leads to situation B, where he decides to donate time and money to a local homeless shelter. And if this response doesn't suit you, you are given different versions to choose from. Or you can resubmit your prompt over and over again until you're satisfied. Obviously, this is a big problem for educators. Whereas Turnitin can prove sentences have been copied and pasted from an external website, no such definitive proof is possible with AI-generated text from a chatbot. Precisely because there is no external website or specific source. Responses to assignment prompts are generated out of thin air, so to speak. But even if we can't prove it, how do we even know when a student is using artificial intelligence? Can Turnitin detect suspected ChatGPT? A few months ago, Turnitin was updated with the ability to spot text which looks suspiciously like it was artificially created. Now is not the time to discuss in detail how ChatGPT works, other than to say that it spits out a string of words that it predicts will best answer your question. And those words are generated artificially according to a statistical formula that determines the most probable flow of words in each sentence. In other words, ChatGPT builds up each sentence by just adding one word at a time, and each word is the most reasonable, or statistically probable, continuation of the text that came before it. And by most reasonable is meant what you might expect someone to write after seeing what people have written on billions of web pages and all the other text and data that chatbots get trained on. And sentences whose flow of words are generated by an algorithm simply looking for what's statistically the most reasonable or probable word to follow, one after the other, well, that kind of writing, as you might expect, is entirely ordinary, bland, unoriginal, zero creativity. AI-generated text sticks out like a sore thumb to an educator who has read thousands of student papers. And it's even more obvious to Turnitin, which runs a word-by-word analysis of the text and finds it statistically ordinary enough to flag it for our attention. Which, of course, is not proof positive of cheating, but it's concerning enough to warrant a sit-down discussion with a student to ferret out the truth. And that's where I draw the line. I keep up with the new technology. I use and enjoy new technology. As a teacher of the humanities, I am grateful and privileged to be living in ground zero of a technological explosion and cultural paradigm change some have compared to the discovery of fire. But I no longer have the time or the patience or the inclination to deal with the ChatGPT problem. I bequeath that thorny opportunity to a new generation of educators.